Welcome, guys, to the first episode of PassionCraft. I am honored to have one of the greatest leaders in C. His name is Nick, TOR Spartaz Simpson. And once again, guys, since it's the first episode, I'm going to talk about what PassionCraft is and why I started its real theme is to reconnect the community. If you guys were here in SC2C long enough, you guys would know about the Who's Who profiles. And, for a while it's been gone, so we don't know much about some of the new talents, new passions coming out in C. And the whole thing about this interview is to talk about, the personal life, the challenges, and, of course, the passion of our some of our most passionate people, like Nick over here. And, and yeah, so once again, guys, passion does build success, and that's what we're here for. So, without further ado, let's get Nick on PassionCraft. Oh, oh.
Awesome. Thank you very much for having me today, man. It's been an honor to finally be on one of these shows. I've never done one before, and it's kind of a new step up for me.
Yeah, that's really good. Well, okay, let's start off with a brief introduction of Nick. I'm honestly pretty sure that everyone knows you because you're like the leader of, I think, arguably one of the biggest C clans ever made in history. And I
We
mean,
have grown quite a bit over the last couple of years, that's for sure.
yeah, I mean, okay, TOR started like how long ago? A year and a half or 2 years?
Yeah, it was about 2 years, about 3 months' time. We started about in March 2011, so we've been going quite a long time now.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've been the leader of TOR ever since. I still remember you just starting TOR as a BSG clan, and like now look
Back
at
in the
where.
day.
Oh my gosh, you've nurtured some of the best players in C, and I think you
Thank
definitely should get credit for that. Um, but yeah, so a lot of people know about you. They know about your achievements. They don't know about your success. But let's start off with talking about your childhood. Of course, you're from New Zealand. Let's talk about
Uh-huh.
where you got that beautiful heavenly smile.
It was the sheep.
Yeah, so
Um,
go on.
so kind of starting off from kind of my background kind of thing. Um, Had a pretty straightforward childhood. I've always kind of, I don't know, grew up with kind of football kind of thing. It's, I don't know where to start with that kind of. I just had kind of humble beginnings. I kind of realized back in 2011 that we really didn't really have that many kind of BSG opportunities for clans, like that kind of skill level. I think it was mainly Fade and a couple of like the TA type guys back in the day. I thought it would be a good opportunity for them if we had kind of something for them to grow and have some opportunities from, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
That's kind of straying a little bit from the original question, but
No
yeah.
worries, no worries. Well, have you ever been on like another team before, like a COD team, whatever? Like, have you ever played another game and been with the active community or like a group of players, sort of thing?
Um, yeah, we actually that's how I kind of got into StarCraft. Before I moved into StarCraft II, I was close friends with Dano. I think a lot of you guys would probably know Dan by this stage. We started together from kind of competitive Pokemon. It kind of sounds really childish back in the day, but we kind of grew up around those kind of that kind of scene. I had my own kind of community site which I ran for a little bit back in the day. And it was interesting. It was kind of cool getting to know some of the people around that stage. Like Dan, I formed a very close rivalry with, and it was quite fun.
Competitive Pokemon. Wow, that's quite a story. Yeah, well,
Ah,
that's
yeah.
I guess I mean, what other games have you ever played before? Like, would you say Pokemon is like that one game that explains your childhood, or would you have another game?
I probably had a variety of games back in the day. Like FIFA, I was pretty passionate about playing. I still play it kind of. I play it quite a bit nowadays, like just for kind of social purposes. My mates play it quite a bit if we go around to each other's houses, which is
Hmm.
quite fun. But I dabbled a little bit in the kind of RTS genre. I played a bit of Battle for Middle-earth, like Lord of the Rings type games.
Nice.
Um, Rome Total War was always pretty fun as well. I always enjoyed a little bit of that. So
Yeah,
it's kind
that's
of those kind of strategy-based games which are always fun for me.
so you like playing football, or I don't know, do you guys call it soccer or football?
Football
Whatever.
is the English term.
Okay,
Football is the
because
right
I mean,
term.
I'm like, if you get American education, you say football, people are like American football. It's like no,
Yeah,
it's
that's fair
football.
enough.
Yeah. So you play football, right?
I used to play a fair bit, but I kind of semi-retired back in 2006. I didn't play on like a club level for quite a long time. I played a couple of like school seasons, but I didn't really get back into it since then.
Okay.
I always kind of just had fun playing recreationally. It was a lot of fun just playing with mates and just around school kind of thing.
Wow, that's awesome, man. Um,
Yeah,
so
it was a lot of fun.
so what position did you play in football?
I'm gonna say I'm like the Kiwi Bale. I played anywhere on the left, left back, left mid, and then I played up front for a little bit,
Yeah.
just because I had like the kind of height and the pace to play as a usually as a false nine, so like as a sole striker, which was quite cool.
All right, man. That's awesome. So you're probably one of those like legendary football strikers like everyone loves. Like all the girls are like, "Oh my God, it's the striker. He's the one who scores."
I always played defense. Like I always
What?
just found, yeah, it was fun. Like it was fun just playing left back because you can always make like lots of fun runs, just going charging right up the left.
Uh-huh.
It's good times.
Awesome, man. Well, to be honest, I played football a fair bit too, and I played
Uh-huh.
center D, and then I moved to goalie.
Nice.
Trust me, goalie
That's
is
a
like,
that's a pretty big change.
oh,
Pretty big step back.
oh, it was, yeah. I think emphasize step back because nobody loves the goalie. Everyone just, yeah.
Rush goalie can be pretty fun.
Oh yeah,
Rush goalie is a lot of fun.
definitely, man. Goalie, like you know what you do in FIFA? Yeah, you take that ball from the goalie, you run it across the court, and you freaking shoot it in. That's what you should do as a goalie.
Real FIFA style. Real FIFA style.
But okay, let's move on a bit. And just now you mentioned a bit about the starting of TOR, and
Uh-huh.
the name itself speaks a lot. It's time of rising. Okay, where did you begin with this idea? Like, why did you think of a theme of time of rising? Because it explains so much. I mean, at that time where you started TOR, there was a lot.
Mhm.
There was a lot less going on in C compared to today. Like, there weren't a lot of teams back then, and time of rising is a pretty interesting theme. Why don't you talk about that?
It was interesting because I realized that this. Okay, there's a theme which I keep whenever I kind of consider any decisions or ideas which I make in regards to the clan or to in regards to like Team 12 during its time as well. It'd always be it's the players' time to finally get those opportunities and create them for themselves. That's kind of where the idea for Time Horizon came from. When I thought about it, I thought that league shouldn't be considered in who gets those opportunities or not. You all work towards a common goal. You have your individual goals, but you work towards something greater. That's kind of where TOR kind of sprung towards for me. Just that chance for players to kind of get a feel for what it is to kind of improve and develop themselves in terms of following their passions and their goals and ambitions. That's kind of that's the kind of feel I got for me when I was kind of considering TOR as like a name and a brand. But it turned up to something quite a bit more than what I expected down the track.
Yeah, okay, I mean, yeah, talking about expectations from the start, before starting this clan, like what sort of dreams or like, you talked about how you wanted goals, but what was your dream at the start of TR? Like what were you expecting out of it?
For tour or on an
Yeah.
individual level?
You can talk about both, definitely.
On an individual level, I didn't really have any kind of goals centered on myself as a player. I never really have done, aside from progressing like as you do through like the leagues kind of thing, which I hit diamond a couple of months ago. Yeah, that was exciting. But aside from for tour, like I didn't really have kind of short-term goals as such for tour. I just thought, well, we're gonna move towards our ambitions collectively, but we'll be doing it in the sense that we still be sharing that same love and passion for the game. It was more centered around enjoying the experience rather than kind of measuring each step of progress as we went. It was kind of the deciding factor for me is as long as we have that enjoyment and passion for the game, that we'll still be able to move forward as a clan, as a group, as individuals.
Yeah.
I guess kind of answers your question a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Like, okay, you mentioned that you weren't really part of a clan before that, and you really just hopped into the SE2 scene. You realized that there were a lack
Yeah, it was a
of
pretty big leap.
yeah, there are a lack of clans. I mean, okay, so from the step of somebody who isn't completely totally into the art, like I'm guessing, did you ever play Brood War?
I played a bit of Brood War with my
Oh,
mates because I had a few Korean friends which I go around to their places and just play a little bit of RTS kind of thing. We played like Warcraft 3, a little bit of Dota. I wasn't too fond of the MOBA type genre, but we played a little bit of Dota and a little bit of Brood War. I used to
okay.
play Protoss back in the day as well, so I'd always mass carry as it was kind of my go-to strat.
Yeah, so okay, what would you say was leadership like? Okay, I mean, I'm guessing it was probably your first time managing a team of players in an online game. Okay, like what would you say were the original or fundamental challenges that you had to face as a leader?
Hmm, trying to remember that far back, it's quite hard. Um, Possibly there was a personal barrier which kind of set me back a fair bit regarding the early days of Tor. I don't think a lot of people know this, but a lot of the founding members know what happened. I had an issue with my laptop and I was kind of semi-inactive or missing in action for about 3 to 4 months because my laptop had this internal hardware issue which was really causing me to be away for a long period of time. But when I came back, I noticed that we kind of our growth really halted for a little bit. So that was kind of the biggest barrier for me to kind of set things back on track. And it was kind of a case of reaffirming kind of communication between our group to kind of get us in a position where we could kind of practice and train together and also still kind of improve upon what we already had.
Hmm.
That's probably the fundamental thing for what we had back in the day was probably the communication, I guess. And then from there, we kind of just took off, and players just started kind of developing at their own pace and also collectively as well.
I see. Um, were you used to having a group of players that would like, follow you or like, you being that leading
No,
figure? Like, how does that feel? I mean, not
I
pretty.
still don't. Okay, it's kind of weird when I see leadership. I always see it in a really not really brutal light, but like I don't if I'm presented an opportunity, say for example from a school-based context, I'll never take the opportunity unless I've fully committed to it. It's always a case of whether I can put 100% into what I am, into like the task or what kind of thing I'm undertaking from like that school perspective. But when it was in regards to tour, like I didn't really see any limitations to what I wanted the guys to achieve or like how that we would see ourselves moving forward. And it kind of was, I don't know, the distinguishing factor for me when I kind of considered where I was within tour. Like I just saw the guys being able to achieve what they can. Like, for example, I take Ryan at ACL, like, oh, NXZ, like achieving fourth place at ACL. Like, before he went into the tournament, I knew he was highly capable of doing that. I just didn't see that kind of limitation. And he worked his way towards that goal. And it was really awesome to see him achieve so highly. It was fantastic.
Yeah, so yeah, that's definitely I personally know some of the inspirational stories that you've told me by yourself, and you know I know that TOR operates sort of like a family. It's probably even closer than families. Maybe like, you know, I don't know how you guys like probably like bros or like sisters or whatever you guys like.
A lot of abuse is thrown around the chat.
But okay, so you as a clan leader, I know that you get to know pretty much everyone who joins the team. Okay, but how do you think? Okay, how has it changed your life with TOR? Like having this pretty much a new family. Okay, that started a year and a half ago till today. How has it
Uh,
changed your life on a social aspect? You know, whatever, just on a general life aspect.
that's an easy one. Okay. I can probably pinpoint some examples of when it's been kind of tough for me to do certain parts of certain areas of my life, I guess, especially when it comes up to, I think I'd probably point out last year during the exam period, I realized that I was under a lot of pressure and a lot of stress. But there was one key underpinning idea which I had going into the exams was that Tor was like kind of with me through it. It was kind of the supporting environment where I could kind of come back from a day's study and kind of talk to some of the guys and see how they're going. Now, it was really nice because we kind of have that kind of more or less open relationship where we can just, I don't know, vent at each other, I guess. Just, we can kind of, I don't know, bag Chris a little bit in Tor chat, which is quite fun. It's a lot of fun. You have to try it sometime. But it's interesting because I still don't really, I don't know. I'm trying to like shape this idea into words, but it's kind of hard to put forward. It's kind of like I know that I'm, as you said, the leader of tour, but I still it's weird to recognize that, I guess. It's like since we've started out, I still don't believe that we've achieved so much as we have done over the last 2 years. And I'm kind of like grateful just for being a part of that opportunity, I guess. I still kind of appreciate it so much, but I don't know. It's hard to sink in. It's kind of changed the way that I see kind of I don't know the kind of community in StarCraft. It's just kind of a really humbling feeling to be part of something so big, I guess.
I see. Well, yeah, definitely. I know that it's really hard to, lead such a passionate team of players, and to see them like, okay, there might be a lot of trolls going on right now, but I mean, I totally understand how, watching people, just grow. It's like a father-like figure, but not exactly. It's like, brother, father, whatever you call it. But
I'm a daddy to them all.
you're the big old daddy, man. Shirt off, please. But yeah.
Oh
Anyways,
dear.
like, are there some? Okay, I'm not gonna have like any bias or anything. I'm just wondering, like, what are some, I guess, most memorable experiences of seeing a player grow? Like, can you share some
Ooh.
of those experiences with us?
Yeah, definitely. Probably it's probably not the biggest one for me personally, but it's probably the one which stands out to me the most because I've known this player for a really long period of time. Um, Possibly the biggest achievement, well, the biggest moment that I've known a player achieve his end goal has been Dana. When he first achieved North American Grandmaster, it was pretty big. Like he's been going for it for a good, what, 3 years since 2010 StarCraft II beta. And when he achieved that, I was just like, there's a feeling which I couldn't really express into words because I've known Dan for, I think it's about 4.5, 5 years now. And it's kind of really cool to see him kind of flourish and achieve his goals after so long. It's just amazing, man. It was probably maybe the moment or one of the top five of player achievement. It was awesome.
Hmm.
But it's kind of I talked to you about a few of them as well.
Yeah.
Like for example, Ryan kind of achieving NXZ achieving fourth at ACL, but also Pairs has shined through so hard this year as well. Um, Kind of getting second place at the ACL qualifier just for the second round for Melbourne was really big achievement for him because he's been trying to aim towards his ambition of kind of becoming that pro gamer by seeing if he can make it part time. And he's really shown through. He's really shown that he's a really talented player and he's got a lot of talent. And it's really cool to see like they've just put so much work in and they've achieved what they wanted to get out of StarCraft. It's really awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Like, you talked to me about even more stories. Like, we've got Venom as well. And yeah, some really great stories coming out of TOR, and I'm sure we can share a bit more about that later on.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
yeah, okay. So let's talk about, how somebody corrected me on the stream chat that TOR has been here for 2.25 of a year. So I was
Yep.
a bit off on that. So sorry guys about that, but okay. So as a clan leader, okay, you started as a BSG and
Hmm.
you nurtured such talent. You got a really good roster like around a year ago, and for most leaders, okay, maybe I might be wrong, but for some leaders, some people would think about, oh, okay, so I have a good roster right now. They're pretty good. They're definitely going to be a good bunch to be sponsored, right?
Yeah.
So what did you ever have that sort of decision in your mind? Like, I've nurtured such good players. I've been with these guys. We're tight. Let's take a new step with TOR.
Hmm. I kind of thought about that, but probably not the same kind of thinking. I just thought, how I kind of introduced the team tour concept?
Yeah.
That was kind of that opportunity where I realized, well, these guys have been really deserving of a step up. And it's kind of what work can I put into kind of developing them into kind of the next kind of tier players to be more semi-professional. And that's kind of where we became team tour and then we kind of in turn joined Avant. It's kind of that thought process where we've kind of reached a point where we can take that next step together in order to kind of progress to the next level in our kind of play kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And yeah. Well, have you ever thought about, you know, like a lot of clans? Okay, they start as a huge clan. You've got multiple leagues of players, different skill levels, and
Uh-huh.
they decide to, let's step it up and make a team, like
hmm
you guys did, Team TOR. But how does that? What's the type of challenge that you face? Okay, being a leader of a new brand, okay, a Team TOR and the TOR clan. Like, is there a struggle in that? Is it a hard decision for you?
The hard decision to make.
Yeah, like was it
Um,
a hard step to take? Because I know some people, they have a struggle with kind of releasing a new brand, but also keeping the old clan there. It's kind of like, I've got two different responsibilities now.
I can probably say it can be a little bit hard separating the two entities, but it's kind of for our point of view, we kind of had the AV Tour brand rather than just being consumed by Avant. And that was kind of important for me as well as I think the community as well, because we wanted something where we have our top tier players representing us, and also the fact that it'll be something for them to aspire to, but something that they can relate to as well, because they've come through Tour, they've shown that they're capable of achieving a lot more, and it's something that they can replicate themselves. It kind of was a really important decision for me to make because I still wanted to have that strong TOR representation in the kind of brand, which we kind of got to some extent. I was pushing for it a lot further, but it kind of worked out a little bit the way that I wanted to.
Hmm. All right. So it's 6:20 over here in Singapore time and 8:20 around there in Australian time. I did promise the stream chat that we'll have a Q&A. So,
That
I'm
sounds good.
I'm opening up the stream chat right now. Whoever fires whatever question will answer it, or Nick will answer it over
Uh,
here.
yeah.
I hope you guys don't ask anything sexual because, that's probably gonna be after stream, or
The shirt is not coming off yet.
yeah, the shirt is not coming off, guys.
You can say that for later.
Okay, so first sensible question we have is, um, when are you going to start recruiting players for TOR?
Was that Renzo? Okay, Renzo, like I've been kind of talking to people for the last couple of weeks. We've been receiving quite a few applications from like a few redemptions friends, which have been pretty good. So we're kind of reopening BSGs a little bit more. For Masters, Grandmasters, probably not. We've still got a pretty talented roster and it's quite full of active players. Um, Plat Diamond, probably we'll see how BSG recruitment goes for a little while. Because gold, there's a kind of a very small skill gap between gold and platinum at the moment, so we'll see how that kind of pans out. But aside from that, we'll see how we go until after exams.
All right.
But yeah,
Okay. So, any other questions, guys? Nick, what is the answer to life? Obviously, it's by your
hold
favorite
on, hold on, hold
spook.
on. I got it. Yes, it's Spook. Or Dr. Carapatus.
Do you have an answer? What is the answer to life? That is the ultimate question here.
I'm still trying to find the answer to that myself. That's a good answer, isn't it?
Okay, so
It
so
gives me a little time.
so okay, we've got two good questions over here.
Uh,
First one is from Pandarine. Will you allow TOR to expand its game roster? I think we kind of covered that, but I guess maybe it's on a more general basis.
I can probably expand on that a little bit more because we've kind of expanded into different games over the last few years. We've kind of expanded into different types of platforms, but not really directly, I guess. It's kind of the fact that StarCraft was the game that brought us all together, and it's kind of the same kind of mesh that keeps us together kind of thing, but we can still kind of divide off into the different games. I mean, today we just set up the LoL group, so that'll be interesting to see how they pan out. They're quite talkative. They're a talkative bunch.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
wait, is this LoL group formed from the StarCraft group of players, or is
Yeah,
it?
it's
Oh, okay.
like it's just from the casual type LoL players because a lot of the StarCraft players kind of like a bit of a cooldown game, like a casual game, which they
Hmm.
can kind of just vent a little bit,
Yeah.
which is fair enough because
Oh,
I do the same thing for FIFA, just shoot a few goals, win some games in Newcastle. Fun
Mm-hmm.
times.
Okay, so we have a question coming from NXZ.
Mhm.
Spartaz, how do you feel about the Team TOR situation right now? Do you have any intentions of joining up with any organizations or, anything like that in the future?
That could be an interesting move. Short term, I'd probably have to say not particularly. Like at the moment, I've got a lot of work on in terms of uni. Like my workload has been pretty stressful for the last 3 months. So when I start hitting assessments, I'll probably be inactive for a fair while. But maybe long term, I'll look back into kind of reintroducing kind of the team TOR name again. It's probably something which I'm gonna kind of focus on for just the community at the moment. I'd rather spend a lot more time kind of working on you like with everybody rather than just focusing on with a small group as well. It's kind of the biggest question for me is like a question of time and how much I'm able to put in. Like willing, I will gladly like sacrifice a lot of my uni time, but it's quite an intensive course, so
Mm-hmm.
I need to kind of keep on top of my grades in order to keep on going through.
Yeah, absolutely.
But but aside from that, yeah, I'm probably going to look back into getting into the competitive front, as you said the other night
Oh,
again.
awesome. You guys
Uh,
heard that? Team TOR is back. It's gonna be revived from the dead. Anyway, so DJ Villain asks, are you going to ACL Melbourne?
it's the one question which I've been putting off for like a month. Um, you'll know my answer by Friday next week.
Okay,
I'll call it then.
fair enough. We have a question from Mr. Turkle. Where do you see your organization in a year's time? And also, where do you see the Australian scene in a year's time?
That's a pretty good question. Um, I guess for the purpose of answering the question, I don't particularly see TOR as what I would call an esports organization. I don't feel that would probably be the correct term to kind of put TOR into as a category. I'd probably say it's more a community focus at the moment. So for the next year, I'd kind of see if we did go down that path, potentially we would look into kind of, I don't know, attracting sponsors and maybe expanding to different games on the competitive front. But that's a good question to think about for the future. But aside from that, for the short term, we're just going to be focusing on the community base and kind of developing our existing facilities kind of thing.
All right.
But in terms of the Australian scene, hmm, I feel that there's really good news on kind of the LoL, COD, Black Ops, and StarCraft front. There seems to be a lot more organizations seem to be a lot more willing to kind of invest into StarCraft players, which is kind of good. Like I've seen what there's been Myth, which have been picking up players. Archon Gaming's expanding its roster by picking up Taigi, which is pretty good news. Um, Avance picked up some more players, which has been an interesting move. Um, XL5's just announced NXZ and Megafonzi, so they're expanding their roster quite heavily to support the scene, which is really good news. So we'll be seeing them a lot more at events. I feel like it's growing fairly sta fair bit of stability, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
for the time being, but it could, there's always room to grow. As long as we've got those opportunities coming for players, I feel like it could be pretty good for the long-term future of StarCraft in Australia. But
Absolutely.
on New Zealand, on the other hand, I'm worried. We lost Rogue. She was like the hope for our future.
Mm. Yeah,
But
we've been hearing. Is she moving to Australia?
she's moving to Sydney for a job with MSI, which is really cool. Like I'd love to work for them,
All
but
right.
I'm going to planning,
Well,
sadly enough.
yeah, we're okay. So we're gonna be quickly moving on to the further questions, and you mentioned
Yeah.
Avant just now. We will be talking about that. So Will from the stream chat, and wondering what you guys can throw up. If you guys don't ask any sort of question, we'll be going with Taz's question.
Oh, the TR mass thing. Okay, I want to answer this. I want to answer this.
Okay, fine. Let's just go with it. Don't worry, guys. We will have a questionnaire at the end as well. So let's
Okay,
go with this.
well, if we're doing a roster of like our mass team, we'll have Spook at the top. Probably Chris coming in second place. Maybe a bit Taz and Pox about there in the pecking order. It's definitely a possibility. It's definitely a possibility.
Okay, so Spook is like a mathematics genius.
Yes, we'll just put it that way.
All right. Okay, so we know who to ask around if we need help with math. We're gonna ask Spook.
It's always a safe bet to go with.
All right. So okay, so let's move on with some of the questions we have here. So, you know, 2 or 3 months ago, okay, we heard about TOR parting with Avent Gaming, and
Hmm.
you mentioned that a bit earlier. And okay, so the logistics of the entire situation was pretty clear to the community. You did a thread, we all read about it, so we know why. But what were some internal issues for Team TOR that your team had to face and overcome?
I'd probably say the biggest barrier which we faced in regards to our decision to like kind of leave Avant was the communication between players and management. It was probably what contributed to kind of our final decision. It was a case where players really didn't have a sense of trust between the management and kind of the teams within the organization, I guess. That's kind of what set us off realizing, well, our team doesn't really feel that kind of connection, I guess, and that's kind of what factored into kind of us leaving. There was a multitude of factors that kind of affected our decision, but I won't go into a lot of them tonight,
Mm-hmm.
maybe. I was just kind of there's a variety of small decisions that were made which really affected our trust.
Okay.
And that was regarding the kicking of the former manager of Avant, which really kind of spiraled downwards for us, I guess.
Yeah.
And that was just yeah, it was a bit of a pain because I had to deal with it for like months. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was kind of relieving for me, I guess, when we kind of left Avant. It's kind of there was a few stress elements, I guess, for me personally, because it was kind of during the time where I was just like getting into settled to uni, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, we kind of moved on to bigger and better things. I mean, good old Jack's on Silicon Sports now, and
Mm-hmm.
also Ryan's
Yeah.
moved to Check Five, which is awesome news.
Yeah. Definitely. We've heard some really awesome recruitments, and speaking of that, Pet's been moving. Oh, Pet as in Petrify, not
The
Petraeus
real
in chat.
pet,
Not
the real.
depends who you are and who you support. Pez as well going to Silicon Esports. Like, how do you feel about this change? I mean, we've talked a lot about how TOR is like a family, and you're all there to help each other improve. You guys work as a family. You
Uh,
guys are tight. It's nothing superficial, but would you say there's any emotional challenges, in saying not goodbye, but having them represent another team? Like,
it's uh-huh.
is it tough?
Not really. It's the exact same environment as it was before.
Okay.
It's kind of interesting because people may wear the different tag, but they're still kind of TOR at heart, I guess.
Yeah.
We still have hours and hours of theory crafting between pairs and exam, which is good. I learned so much about it. But it's really cool to like just see them go off and bounce ideas off each other kind of on a nightly basis, a daily basis. They just go off and off, which is awesome to see. And it's the same with Pet. They kind of just get stuck in whenever there's a training session going on, we just kind of get into it. It's the same old story. We just continue on. The relationship hasn't changed at all. It's
That's
just
awesome.
it's just stayed the same. It's awesome.
That's great. I'm sure like there's. Would you say it was a really awesome moment to hear that they got picked up by another team? Was it?
Hell yeah.
All right.
I
That's
was
great to
waiting
hear.
for Ryan to be like unveiled for ages. We like as soon as he liked the page, we knew. We could feel it in our hearts that he was there.
Oh, I read those posts. I definitely read those posts. Um,
Yeah, it's
have,
good stuff.
having NXZ like your page is a huge thing. Those likes don't come free, guys. So
Dude,
maybe
they're
that's why.
pretty expensive.
Yeah,
They're
they
really
cost a
expensive.
lot. Um, but yeah, so okay, you mentioned about TOR faced quite a lot of issues, leaving Avent, and would you say that's probably the main barrier for you to not restart or try to go and find sponsors again for your team? Like, would you say you're still
I
recovering from it, or um,
mm, I kind of thought about this, and not particularly. I kind of see uni as more of a kind of barrier to kind of what I kind of what I can achieve in the next kind of 6 months, maybe to 9 months period, I guess.
Hmm.
It's kind of just the amount of time I have to put into uni versus the amount of time I'm able to put into esports. It's kind of there's a huge divide between the two.
Yeah.
And I just realized I can't really juggle that like I used to. When I was in school, I was able to like achieve so much more. Like New Zealand Cup, I was running, I think just no, I might have finished my exams. So it was between December to April 2011 to 2012, I think it was.
Yeah.
And that I could kind of commit a lot more time to. But nowadays, I can't really afford much time if I want to kind of cut into assignment time, I guess.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, tonight, I was kind of working up till about 8
Wow.
most days from like 9 till 8.
Gosh,
So it's
that's
those kind of hours, which I do daily. It's just planning's a very competitive course. So you have to kind of be on top of your game in order to kind of keep up that ranking within the planning kind of group of people.
wow. That's tough, man. Now you're
It's a
making me scared about uni.
Dude, it's exactly like architecture. It's just a lot more workload.
Oh
Like the workload's a lot
gosh,
higher.
man. I've been hearing that architecture is already like a killer.
It's yeah, like I've seen a few of my work, my friends' like workloads, and it doesn't really compare between the two. Like I looked at one of the project from second years, and it's kind of so in depth, but it's so diverse at the same
Yeah.
time. It's insane.
Hmm.
It's a lot. It's a huge challenge, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So okay, there's a huge. It's pretty hard to balance university and being a leader right now. Would you say it's one of the fears you have? Like, would you be scared that, your team might lose their drive in the game to re-represent TOR as a sponsor? Like, I mean,
Mhm.
obviously they understand your situation. Obviously they know that you're gonna be really busy, and I know a lot of TOR people are here at on the stream chat, but I'm just wondering, are you scared in any way that you might lose that drive, or your team might lose that drive after you're done with your work? Like, I'm not
Mm,
sure if you understand. Like, yeah,
I
just
guess so. Like I kind of can see where you're coming from regarding probably my point of view more. It's kind of the fact is that I kind of as long as there's tour, I don't think I would be capable of losing that drive. But if I felt for any way that I don't know I'm committing too much time to tour without balancing other parts of my life, I might kind of lose a little bit of my drive there.
hmm
I suppose over the last maybe 3 to 4 months, I've kind of been really kind of on the slow pace regarding any of the work I've done for Talk, mainly because I've been kind of keeping up with uni while slacking off at the same time, which happens first year. Like I
yeah,
thought it'd be quite a lot easier than this, and it's apparently not, which sucks.
yeah,
But
that's
regarding players, like I don't think I could kind of question anybody's drive because they've always been pretty committed towards the game and improving. But I can understand because I'm going through kind of the similar thing regarding like in real life commitments. Like Fox has his PhD that he has to study for, and Dano also has final year like HSC year, and Bill, good old Bill, he's studying for his exams as well at the moment. So I can
hmm
understand where the guys are coming from, but they what always kind of amazes me, they've always kind of been able to overcome those kind of barriers and like achieve really highly, which is awesome. I
yeah.
wish I could do the same regarding my play, but I'm just bad.
Well, you've definitely achieved very high as a leader. I think we
I
shouldn't
could
forget about that.
I could do so much more though. Like I don't see what I've done like as enough. I don't know. I'm always really competitive with myself. Like I've always wanted to achieve higher than what I've already have. So I always want to see Tor continue to rise.
Awesome. I actually think that you can elaborate on that. Like, what would you think is like something you can really do? Something that's obviously possible for you to do that you think you can do better of.
Hmm. Probably at the moment, my key focus will be on kind of internal communication and kind of introducing more facilities where players can kind of form deeper relationships. I
Hmm.
mean, we have the whole team tour unit, but also over the recent 8 months or so, we've kind of grown so large that we've kind of lost a little bit of the old kind of original connection, I guess. That's kind of the one point which is concerning me a little bit at the moment because we've probably towards the end of last year, towards the start of my exam period, I wasn't really focusing a lot on kind of tour and my esports commitments
Yeah.
as I used to. I kind of feel I lost a little bit of connection there. Like I don't feel as strong regarding what I can do,
Hmm.
kind of thing. Just my kind of organizational kind of skills, my kind of keeping in touch with everybody. It's a lot of work, which I kind of fell behind on a little bit.
Hmm.
It's kind of sad because we were in really strong position. I think probably the start of 2012. It kind of like dwindled a little bit towards that period, but then we picked back up. And it was a little bit of double dip kind of thing.
I see. Well, okay. What would you say right now? I mean, you mentioned it a bit earlier, but what would you say is a dream, okay, for TOR today? Like, it doesn't have to be concrete planning, but what would you want to achieve? Like, would you let's say have players from other servers or like, yeah,
Hmm.
what would be some of the things that you would think as a dream for TOR?
Make Nick go to ACL. That's honestly the one thing which I can really. That's the one thing. If I could achieve that, getting people together at an event together, like a majority of us, I would honestly be over the moon. I'd be in a position where I'd be like, just, I would go straight up to Ryan. I'd go up to anyone and just hug him. I'd be that happy.
Aw.
That's probably, that's kind of the one thing which I want to see sometime in the future, or a TOI house I can
Oh,
design. That'd be cool.
TOR house floating right in the middle of New Zealand and Australia. So you guys can
The
just,
logistics might be a little bit awkward, but we'll make it work. We'll
yeah,
make it work.
just have like an underground tunnel from each player's house, just going
That'd be
straight to
cool.
that place.
That'd be cool.
Actually, speaking of which, I was talking to a friend the other day, and
Uh-huh.
we were talking about team houses. Okay,
Yeah.
what do you think about a team house? Do you think there's gonna be more team houses throughout Australia and New Zealand in the future?
I see the benefit of them, but I don't see them being kind of a sustainable option for the near future, I guess. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's kind of okay. I see like the comparisons between potential for Australian team houses and then what they do in Korea and America kind of thing. But you need to be able to commit full time to that kind of setup.
Yeah.
You need to be able to kind of commit yourself to a routine rather than having to kind of go out to uni, go out to work, your other like real life commitments, and then kind of coming back into that. But you're kind of drained by that stage. The kind of team house environment doesn't work as such.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of if we could reach that point, we would have insane amount of growth. I feel like just players would have the opportunity to kind of practice with each other and kind of bounce ideas off, and you kind of have that really close kind of kinship between
Mm-hmm.
teams. You'd have a proper team unit, I guess,
Yeah.
which is kind of where I feel that a lot of the StarCraft, the organization that are picking up StarCraft should be, just
Mm-hmm.
for the development of players that can kind of take off on their own
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Would you
And
say?
saying that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Go on. Go on.
Oh, and saying that like ladder is still a really good outlet for development as well. I just feel that kind of team environment. I don't know. I just maybe it's because of my personal background of like TOR. Like it feels to work. I guess
Mm-hmm.
it just that's just that key defining factor. Like Frey has it's they seem to have an amazing team culture. Like big ups to Frey. Like Chadman's done an amazing job with them, but their players like just they've skyrocketed recently, especially Pet.
Yeah. Petraeus definitely, undeniably good.
Yeah, man.
Um,
The
y-
Alzerg fighting.
yeah. Okay. While I was thinking about a team house, I was thinking about TOR has a good spread of players, and that means like you have
Uh-huh.
players from New Zealand, Australia, Singapore, um,
Hmm.
and probably other countries as well. Would you say it's hard to not be able to like meet every one of those players?
Um, I say probably yes. Like we have obviously the Pandering, which he's over in Malaysia,
Yeah.
and we've got a few people in Singapore as well. So it's kind of the difference between like physical locations, kind of a really hard factor to kind of fit into kind of that team house idea if you're kind of presenting it that way. But it's kind of good in the sense like you have an opportunity where those players can come in from the different locations.
Mm-hmm.
Say, for example, we billionaire sponsors us. Yay, go us. We can kind of build that team house, but it's an opportunity for kind of the different members of the community to come in,
Yeah.
maybe, I don't know, bunk up, split the rent or something, that kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of, I know I see that as a benefit of possibly having that kind of
Okay.
idea, but then again, the costs are pretty high, that kind of investment. So,
Yeah.
but it's an interesting idea, but it's quite an issue having people so farly so dispersed, I guess.
I see. Well, actually, one of the questions that I thought of for you tonight is, you're
Hmm.
a successful leader. You've been, uh, passionate for so long for your team, and you've been helping your team grow, and stuff like that. Is there any advice that you would give to newer clans that have started? Because I know there's been some new clans, there's been some, new announcement of teams, okay?
Yeah.
And you've definitely been through all of that, okay?
Mm.
So what would be some advice, or, just talk about like some of your experiences or tips that you can give to some of the newer teams growing?
I'll start with the clans more than the teams
Okay.
for a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, Maybe to newer clans, like just forming that player base is a kind of the important factor, excuse me, to kind of start off with. Having a type group of players which are kind of dedicated to develop, but also just for the pure and simple reason that they enjoy the game. Like you can't develop and kind of pursue your ideas and your ambitions and stuff without that kind of enjoyment, I guess. Like once you reach the point where StarCraft kind of becomes more work based and kind of enjoyment based, I don't know, I feel like that's probably the point to worry a little bit because you're kind of more forcing out their games rather than wanting to go through them yourself. But for new teams, just looking for opportunities anywhere is kind of the key bit of advice I'd kind of put out there. It's like maybe the kind of new teams kind of start up, say for example, the Ninth Legion. They
Yeah.
have potential to go quite far. Like I know Scroll, who used to be a former TOR clan member, who's kind of gone to Chivalry, I think now.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of good that they just get their brand out there, show companies and like sponsors to see what they can offer them. Just making sure that they have like a strong idea on what they can do and how they can achieve that, and just getting your name out there.
Okay.
But best of luck to them because it's quite a hard market to breach into.
Oh, really? Would you say like, as a news, actually, how would you actually present yourself? Because I mean, you're from NZ and you're from Australia, and I've
Hmm.
seen a lot of Australian teams pick up people from the same region, um,
Yeah.
or just around Australia. Would it be tough, for like, just even from NZ and like Australia, if you have NZ players and Australian players, would it be hard to present to a sponsor like that?
It would depend on the caliber of the New Zealand player.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably say, like, if you, it's quite hard to say that because sometimes it's like regional type sponsors. Usually, you see like ANZ is like kind of the same entity.
Yeah.
But say, for example, you take Oceania and Singapore, for example,
Yeah.
you're kind of factoring two different sets of companies, two different regions. Like, say, for example, you've got Razer, ANZ, and then you've got like Razer Singapore or
Mm-hmm.
Razer India kind of thing. It's kind of, I don't know, it's different kind of trying to engage with different companies across different regions. Like when we were in Avant, we kind of talked to different companies from different regions, not going through the kind of normal channels, I guess. Like for example, we went for an American. They had like offshoots in Australia, but we went for the American branch, and that's how we got like a contract that way.
Yeah.
It's kind of yeah, it's interesting to go like that. If you're taking that approach, it's kind of hard, I guess, because New Zealand, say for example, the New Zealand scene isn't that large compared to Australia, so it's more, I don't know, it's kind of wiser to go for the already established scene where a lot of players have kind of proven themselves because there's more opportunities for them, and it makes sense because well, New Zealand players like the cost for flights and stuff is a lot higher than they are from like Australia base. So I guess that kind of factors into the decision there.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, there's just so much TOR going on in the stream chat. So yeah, okay. So we're about at 8:50.
Uh-huh.
ASD, and I've promised everyone on Stream Chat that it's been an hour. I won't keep you on for that long tonight. You need to get back to your studying or whatever
That's all right.
that chills
I'm
you
probably
out.
dead for I'm dead for tonight.
Maybe get a good rest. So, the last
Yeah.
10 minutes will be dedicated to everyone watching. You guys have been a great audience. And yeah, so fire on the questions for Nick here as he
Go for it.
smiles an angelic smile.
What's my Hold on, I want to read
Once my mom
that.
walked in on me while I was raising my donger, Nick. Has anyone walked on you when you were raising your donger? What's
Um no. I've never had that problem, strangely enough.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not
Man.
saying fish and chips. I say it normally. I say it normally. Ah, dear.
Okay, so we have a question from Superpower.
Ah, oh dear, this is gonna be good.
Nick, how do I get into competitive Pokemon? What to learn first?
What to learn first? Are we gonna have it? Okay, I'm really tempted to give you a serious answer for that, just because I really want to. Okay, start off. Okay, tip number one: don't steal Nick's Pokemon. I'm looking at you, Dan. I'm looking at you. Okay, tip two: you need to like EV train, breed Ives. I don't know, practice. Don't fall to Bill's tricks. Good times. It's good times. So yeah, that's probably an interesting answer to put forward.
I've never played Pokemon seriously, so I really don't know. I just know my friends just keep playing it. They're just on that thing all the time.
It's
Um,
fun. I didn't like Gen 5. Like Gen 5 was kind of boring for me. But
uh-huh.
I'm gonna get that back thrown in my face later on tonight.
Awesome. So okay, let's scramble for another question.
Oh dear.
Okay, these questions are so fun. Nick, do you have any comment on recent allegations that you have lost all your passion?
I have wait, I'm not sure if I've got that Skype quote. Hold on. I'll try to find it. Like we Okay. I'd say that the allegations are kind of false,
Hmm.
but then again, there's kind of there we go.
Let me read this. Let me read this out. I actually might copy and paste it for you guys. Wait,
Oh
why
dear.
can't I see it?
It
Oh,
should be
oh my god, that's so sad. I feel you, brother.
I know. It's
That
the spam in the chat channels. I need to get rid of them.
that is the message, guys. Nick Spartaz Simpson removed passion from this conversation. Oh my gosh.
That's worrying. That's very worrying.
Okay, so let's get another question.
I think
Um,
I see a serious one.
let's see. Okay, spook seriousness.
Oh dear. Okay.
Okay, how do you feel about people being in more than one clan?
Um, I was, I was kind of against it for a little bit, mainly for the sake that I kind of felt like when it came to the competitive side of things, like you couldn't really say, well, no to one and then yes to another. We're kind of getting to that crossroads with NXZ and Stallion, but that's cool. Like I really don't mind that much, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
like I used to, but mainly that was kind of filtering in because I was alt, and alt during the time was kind of more of a social kind of group rather than a clan.
Yeah.
But that's, say for example, maybe us and TCP because I know David
Yeah.
fairly well. Like I'd probably say no, mainly for the fact, well, it's kind of two separate entities, two
Mm-hmm.
different ideas. But yeah, it's an interesting question to put forward, that's for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so another question, pandering. Nick, the rivalry between TOR and MGG.
Okay,
What do you think?
TR wins. Here we go.
Oh, okay. All right.
I always have a lot of respect for metagame gods. Like
Yeah.
they've put a lot of work back into the scene as well, and they're kind of like the younger clan to us. So I'm always like looking forward to seeing what they can kind of bring forth to the table. They've done like a lot of kind of tournament provisions kind of thing, like bringing like the CNA tournament, which is really cool to see. Like we're kind of seeing that kind of gap close between the two regions a little bit because we're getting to see more interaction between the two, which
Yeah.
is really nice to see. But like they've just done so much work. Like I mean, Azraf just she's crazy. She's been doing like BSGs for 88 times
Hmm.
off from memory. Oh no, 95. Okay, that's a lot more
Wow.
than I thought.
Dang.
She's crazy. She's crazily passionate about StarCraft. It's awesome to see. She's really awesome to talk to.
Hmm. So one of your brothers are asking, what do you think about Hellbats? Okay, this is definitely like the
A
question
balance question.
of the
Okay.
century. So we got a leader's perspective on Hellbats.
Okay, troll or real answer? I'll do both.
Yeah, oh,
Okay.
yeah, sure, why not?
I'll do the real answer first. Like I kind of like the ability that it gives Terran to kind of I don't know. I still think the drops are really strong, but I don't know. I've seen TVT and I kind of like that kind of dynamic. It's a lot. I don't know. It just feels a lot faster, I guess, and it kind of does damage against zealots. Coming from a Protoss perspective, I kind of don't mind them that much. They're not really that much of an issue for me. When
Mhm.
it comes to Halbot drops, I'm usually pretty cautious about like how I kind of respond to them. I usually have a couple of Templar or a couple of Stalkers and Zealots in the main, so I'm kind of I don't know. My tension between the two is usually all right. The one thing which I can kind of QQ about is more. Well, don't. Okay, this is kind of from a Protoss point of view. I don't bother with Hellbats, but when it comes to Muta, I'm not even going to talk about that. It's just ridiculous. Muta and PVZ is just ridiculously strong.
Okay. So since Redemption has been so patient, he has a question for
All
you.
right, Red.
How much faith do you have in TOR for the future?
100% faith. I wouldn't like trade it for anything.
Oh, that's really that's great. That's great to hear. Okay, so what's another question? I think I got one from Erasmus.
Ah,
Who
cool.
in TOR is going to place highest at ACL Melbourne?
Hmm. I feel this is okay. Let's say the proxy hatch is going to be very strong, so I can see DJ Villain doing really well.
Oh
But
yeah.
I I don't know if XM is going to attend Melbourne or not.
Yeah.
He says he might, but then again, he might be coming to NZ. I know in the next month or so. So I'm hopefully gonna see if NXZ. Oh, sorry, not NXZ. If XM does go, I'd
Yeah.
like to see him do really well. But I
Hmm.
have a lot of faith in Pairs at the moment. Like he's built up a lot of momentum going into the tournament.
Yeah.
Like I mean, just getting second place and the way that he's just consistently going against ladder, he's kind of got that mentality where he's going to take his game to the next level.
Hmm.
But then again, Pet is like Petrify Pet is kind of like following just a couple of sets behind. He's really strong. He's gonna be a crazy strong Zerg going into the competition. He's definitely gonna be one to watch out for.
Wow. So many options for Nick. You
Dude,
must.
like if everyone goes, like I want to see like McLovin do really well as well. I want to see everyone just I don't know
That's great.
rock up, just take some names down.
Yeah, definitely DJ Villain, dude. His freaking proxy hatcheries are vicious.
I've been on the tail end of one of those things. It's not pretty.
That
It's
man,
really bad.
that man is like freaking watching. It's like watching like the Zerg version of oh my gosh, what was his name? Of Slayer's Boxer. That's how
Yeah,
crazy he is.
it's
But in Heart of the Swarm, which is not as often as the start of the beta of Wings of Liberty. Dang.
those were some crazy times back in the day.
Okay, so let's get another question in here.
Awesome.
Um,
NA for Micro Tony.
micro tourney. I've actually no, not in a micro tourney. I've played in one of your in-house tourneys. Got raped. I think by Redemption. I
It,
got raped,
Red played pretty strong. Was it 2-0?
dude. It should have been like 100. Oh, trust me. That was the level of rapage, if rapage is a word.
That should be a word. It's pretty good.
It
Like
is.
it flows pretty well.
Yeah.
But we haven't actually finished that one yet. Like we've kind of like put it off. We were gonna say we were gonna play like a around the night kind of thing, but we never really got back into it.
Mhm.
I kind of just faded off towards the end of semester. I just ugh, not nice. But yeah, we need to finish. We need to have. There's one thing which I kind of want to introduce is kind of the we discussed the last in-house discussion kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was proposal to kind of introduce a multi-tiered system where we'd kind of have qualifiers from BSG, PD, and also MGM, and kind
Hmm.
of introduce them to like one big kind of bracket, big spanning several weeks. I want to see if I can give that a go over my break, which starts Monday at 4:30, which I'm looking forward to. I'll start
Awesome.
playing.
Okay, so Fractal asks, Nick, can you tell us about the secrets to your beautiful smile?
I'm really subconscious about my teeth. Like seriously, I looked at them and like I drink a lot of Coke. Like I go through maybe 1.5 liters every 2 days or so, and I just went, wow, I really need to stop drinking that much sugar.
Dude, actually, have you ever seen those videos on like Coke dissolving like French fries or something?
Ugh. Okay, no, I
They
haven't. I don't,
Okay, don't
that's
ever
scary.
watch it. Just saying, don't ever watch it. Trust me, it's fine, man.
Dude,
Just don't
it
leave.
breaks down your teeth so badly. My teeth were like so yellow. Then I started flossing and stuff. I got really picky about like my oral hygiene. It was crazy.
Okay, so all right, we have a question over here. I am officially challenging you. Okay, by the way, this is from Mr. Turkle.
Okay,
To TOR vs QED in a BSG clan war. Do you accept?
sure.
Gosh, this
I
is like
think we've got
freaking
a clan
Yu-Gi-Oh.
war. I think we've got a clan war. Wait, Sunday? 30th, I think. Wait,
Is that
30th?
against?
Yeah. MGG.
Okay.
Pretty sure it is. Yeah, so maybe next week sometime we can kind of sit down and organize one. DKID is organizing our BSG
Hmm.
division of what's left of it at the moment. Like a lot of our players got promoted to like kind of plat diamond,
Yeah.
and that's why we're kind of opening recruitment again because
Hmm.
we want to kind of bring small players through, give them the same opportunity that we kind of had starting out.
Yeah. Definitely. That's definitely something that you guys. That's a pretty big announcement here. So, do spread the word. TOR is back in the BSG run. Um,
Yeah, man.
what is this? Nick, can you elaborate on EV training? I've read about it
Oh,
ages ago, but I never really understood it properly. I'm guessing
EV
this
is
is this a TOR thing?
no, it's Pokemon.
Oh,
Um,
Pokemon. Oh my gosh.
EV
Okay.
training is like effort value training, where you train specific stats. Like I always have a speed-based team where like I'd always strike first. It's always kind of my go-to kind of builds. So I had like old Crobat and Jolteon just living up their speed stats. No, no, Dan, that's not true. I disagree with that statement. Hey, I've got a video of me beating you. Do you want me to link it again?
Oh, we got some
I don't know.
Pokemon rivalry.
It goes back a couple of years, so.
um,
Ah,
we've got. I'm guessing these are all Pokemon questions. Um,
probably. I think there is a non-Pokemon one. Oh, about the dungeon. That's interesting.
is
Oh
that
dear.
is that a Pokemon question? I'm guessing it is.
Um, Not really. It's kind of a okay. There's many bromances going in within Tor, and one of them is between me and what's now known as Tor Chains. So Venom. We kind of have like this thing going on, which is fun. Yeah. Apparently he's got like his own dungeon and stuff. It's quite interesting.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Okay. That's. I'm sure. I'm
What
sure.
happens in what happens in Hayden's place stays in Hayden's place.
Okay.
We'll just
Hangover
put it
number four, with the TOR guys.
fun times,
The
fun
time of
times.
hangovers. Yep.
They weren't hangovers. There was no drinking involved.
There was just there was just other things involved that
That
guys
just
and guys do together.
yep, that kind of threw a spanner into the mix.
Oh, whoa! Check this out. Update: Flamga's girlfriend just says Spartaz is a little cutie. Oh my gosh, his his cheeks are going red. He
My
can't
cheeks
stop
have been
smiling
red for
now.
like the rest of like most of the night. I'm like still crocked from like last week.
This is why you gotta not smile as much, man. You get everyone too happy.
Ah, yeah.
Okay, so let's. Wow, there's actually a lot of questions going on here, and I'm not sure which one I should ask. Let's have one more question, because we're already down to 5 minutes past where I expected. So,
All right,
One
all
last
right.
serious question. Unless Nick wants to answer how many girlfriends he's had.
I haven't been in a relationship for like a year or so. Like the last one was pretty long term. It was like 10 months or so. It's a
Hmm.
fair while. So I haven't had like anything since then.
All right. Okay. So I
Sad
guess
face.
questions. Okay, guys. No more Pokemon questions. That's for sure. We've had enough Pokemon tonight. But trust me, I would be down to watch you and Dano go in a Pokemon battle.
I already linked it in chat.
Oh, really? Okay, I'm
Yeah.
definitely gonna watch it. So,
Dude, he played a really dirty play. He played Ambipom. Like, just to fake out me the entire time. I had to respond with an entire different build. It was ridiculous.
uh-huh.
But anyway, other questions.
Okay, so question from Locht. Are you going to come to AvCon down at
If I
Adelaide?
I won't be coming to AFCON, but if I am coming to any events, definitely going to be ACL Melbourne.
Okay, you heard it here
Maybe,
first.
yeah, definitely ACL Melbourne. I don't think I'd go to Sydney. Melbourne is probably there's two factors filtering in for me wanting to go to Melbourne. One is the fact which I see all you guys at ACL Melbourne, and the second would probably be kind of from planning point of view. Apparently, it's got the facilities where I kind of want to get a good grips on of a city which has been planned. Because I've only really been living in Auckland for most of my life,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of one of those portside cities which has kind of expanded and grew without really any forethinking, I guess.
Yeah.
Just people, yeah, it's kind of frustrating because you can see the issues that kind of arose from that. So it'd be interesting to see what Melbourne's like in contrast.
Okay, so yeah, I guess that is it from for today. I mean,
Awesome.
we've had some good talks with Nix, and once again, guys, if you guys tuned in the middle, or you want to watch the whole thing once again, I will have a VOD for this. I might actually have an audio file for this. I'm not too sure about that just yet. But yeah, once again, I really want to thank Nick Spartaz Simpson for tonight.
Thanks for having me today, man. It's been an honor to kind of talk on one of these. It's been an interesting experience. You've kind of felt a little bit of the tour love, bit of the trolls going on in chat,
Oh
which
yeah,
have been good.
lots of tour love. And I hope that was a bit of a bit of a good story for you guys tonight. Learning about some of our members in the C community. The whole intention of this show is to know more about the personal life, some of actually the challenges that people face. It's not just the achievements and all the success that comes with the fame and glory. There's a lot of things that people do behind the scenes. So once again, follow Spartaz at his Twitter, and any other things you want to mention, just blast it
Uh,
out right now.
all right, I'll give a big shout out to all the tour people that tuned in tonight, and also those that probably couldn't make it tonight as well. It's awesome to see you guys kind of support me tonight. It's kind of nerve-wracking going into it, but it's been cool. It's been a lot of fun just talking about like kind of where we've come, where we're gonna go, kind of thing. And also shout out to all the New Zealand guys as well. It's a good community, nice tight community there, which is cool. And thanks for having me today, man. It's been awesome.
Yeah, and I mentioned earlier that I promised Flamga and Lock the shout out. Those guys will be. Wait, what is the shout out they want? Avcon? Um, Avcon.
Cam's mom.
Yeah, whatever. Shout out to every. Yeah, okay. So is it tomorrow? For Avcon Lock.
Oh,
If it
might be.
is,
It's Saturday.
it's the qualifiers, right? Um,
Yeah,
I
so the
actually didn't.
Adelaide land
Oh,
is
tomorrow
tomorrow.
and Sunday. Okay. So, Locht and Flamga will be casting the AFCON qualifiers.
Cool.
Do
Tune in for
tune
that.
into that. I personally know Flamga. We go way back. We're like brohans, We're like
Yeah, man.
we're like a
Sean's a good
casting
dude.
we're like a casting wolf pack. But yeah, definitely
Nice.
support those two guys. Will be awesome. I'll be watching them from actually Shanghai. I'm flying to Shanghai tomorrow. Not for
Cool.
IEM though.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah.
Get timed out for IM. That'll be an awesome event to
No.
go to.
I should honestly.
Wait, are
But
you going for a holiday?
yeah, just for holiday.
Nice.
Just
Enjoy
to
yourself.
yeah, definitely. But yeah, guys, thank you for tuning in to the first episode of PassionCraft. I hope it was a success. And I hope you guys liked it. Definitely tune in next week. I'm definitely gonna have a guest coming along. I'm not sure which day. Do follow my thread on SE2C. That's where I'll be giving you all the updates there. And yeah, just thank you everyone. Especially, I guess, a big shout out to TOR tonight. You kept us entertained for sure.
That's very entertaining.
Oh, yeah, it was you guys shirt off.
That comes later. That comes
That
later.
comes later. That comes at Venom's dungeon. That's where
Yes.
that's
Yes,
when the
that's
shirt's off, guys.
it's never on.
Oh, it's never on. Okay. Yeah. Hashtag nothing like TOR because it's definitely one wonderful family to be in. And your passion shines to our community. And once again, thanks for being my guest for the first episode. Oh, and I forgot to
What?
mention PassionCraft. This name actually derived from Nick. He inspired me. His passion came to me, guys. So those out there hating
It
Nick's
was your,
passion, man,
it was your own creation, man. Like in
he
all fairness, I
he
just like
is
pointed you in the right direction.
he
You kind
speaks
of
words of wisdom. Okay, guys, this guy is a saint. Anyways, so yeah, once again, guys, thank you for tuning in tonight. Definitely follow my Twitch channel and my Twitter. Like me on Facebook, because that's where you guys will see me live for the next events. And yeah, once again, guys, thank you for tuning in. And I guess both Nick and I will be signing off right now.
see ya.